Exodus was when St. Patrick drove all the snakes out of Ireland and they had to go and live in Egypt. Unbelievable. Your kids today. Don't you think that's awful?
What?
Not knowing what the Exodus was, or how it's spelt. E-X-I-D-U-S, according to this one.
Well, they're not all brought up in the church, are they?
Well, that's what religious education class is for. And anyway, with a name like Teresa Muldoon, I'm pretty sure she's not Muslim. And we only did the Exodus last week. Probably texting all through lesson. F. Must try harder.
They don't think it's relevant these days, do they?
They may not, but I do. And so does the exam board. Do you know what the Exodus was?
That's when the Jews went out of Egypt, wasn't it?
Well, at least someone's got an education round here.
Did Jules get it?
Well, she did, as a matter of fact. Quite a good essay. Well done, Mum.
Well, I stand over her until she does her homework. No Facebook until she's finished. It's the only way, I'm telling
I
you.
wish more parents were like you. What's that?
Well, Head's calling a post-mortem for parents' evening tomorrow after school.
Tomorrow evening? Oh, for goodness sake, I'll miss my yoga.
Oh, 3-line whip, I'm afraid. If we're going to make St. Catherine's the best school
I know, we're going to have to go the extra mile. Post-mortem's the right word, though. I feel like a zombie after last night. You think the kids are disaffected and poorly socialised until you meet the parents. No offence.
None taken.
So is that what she was upset about then?
What, parents' evening?
Ah.
I think that went well. Why?
Well, just she came storming down the corridor with a face like thunder this morning, nearly knocked me out of the way. Didn't even stop to say hello.
When was that?
Morning break.
She had a call from a parent, I think.
Oh, Sylvia can usually handle them.
No, I think it was a complaint.
Really? About who?
I don't know, honestly. It was just the impression I got. Sylvia seemed to be taking it very seriously, that's all. It's probably nothing.
Oh, it's bound to be something. Sylvia doesn't fluster easily. Who's the parent?
No idea.
Well, who's the girl?
She didn't say.
Oh, come on. You must know something.
All I know is that the girl is in year 9.
And what's wrong?
Well, she's been quiet, withdrawn, moody.
Well, that narrows it down.
Well, now she's off sick. Apparently she's not coming back into school again until this thing's sorted out.
Well, what?
I don't know. I mean, all I heard was Sylvia on the phone saying it was a very serious matter and that she'd look into it. I shouldn't say anymore. I shouldn't even have been listening. I've never seen the head so worked up about something before. I mean, usually she sends parents packing or fops them off on the governors. Which means it must be very serious.
Priority 1?
Well, it sounded like it.
Oh, this is serious.
Well, you know best, Val. I mean, how long have you known her for?
Well, years. We trained together in Liverpool. She gave me my first job almost 30 years ago. Teaching was different back then. For a start, you could get something done. Kids were more motivated, and if they weren't, you could do something about it. None of this health and safety bureaucratic nonsense. Targets, key stages, and inspection every other week. Back then, they just let you get on with it.
Times change.
More's the pity. But Sylvia doesn't. She's a tough cookie. I wonder if it's someone in my class. Carrie wasn't in today, but then neither was Sharma or Suzette or Debbie. You don't think it's me, do you?
What?
The complaint.
Oh, Valerie, God, I don't know. All I heard was that was serious.
I sent Carrie out for passing notes, and I confiscated Sharma's phone. To them, a mobile isn't a communication device, it's a human right. But I gave it back to her, so it can't be that. Oh, but then there was that incident with Maya.
What incident?
Well, I went out of class to do some photocopying. And when I came back in, there was cash stolen from my bag. I kept everyone behind, but of course nobody owned up. I know it was Maya, and I told her I was watching her. Right little klepto, that one. But she wouldn't. But I mean, she'd get herself into trouble for a start.
Sylvia did mention you lost some money at the assembly the other week.
Lost my arse. It was stolen. That's what she had to say. And that thieving little minx is just going to get away with it. No wonder we can't teach them anymore. We can't even make them respect us. And most of them don't even want to do RE. Thinks it's irrelevant and boring. And that's for general studies, but half of them don't even bother turning up.
I just got the impression it was something physical.
Physical? Violent, you mean? What, like somebody hit someone? Or...
I honestly doubt it. Maybe. But that would qualify as very serious.
Oh, very. Oh.
Oh, there you are, Emma. Very nice chat.
I was just telling Valerie about the post-mortem for Parents' Evening tonight.
Please don't call it that. We're not in silent witness. It's a debrief. Yes, that. Anyway, you can drop that now. I've got something urgent for you. Have either of you seen Anji this morning?
Not since assembly.
Oh, she's already in here.
Well, why do you need Anji?
Oh, I need everyone. Oh, here's the staff roster. I've ticked off everyone I've managed to speak to in person. I'm calling an all-staff emergency meeting this lunchtime, 1 o'clock. Priority 1.
What's it about?
Very worrying complaint. You'll find out all about it at the meeting.
Oh, but my Year 12s have a trip to St Paul's this afternoon.
Oh, you'll have to cancel it. They'll have to go another day. When I say everyone, I mean everyone. Now, Emma, I don't have time to run everyone to ground, so if you can find the rest of them and tell them in person to be here.
But what if they're busy or they're in
Well,
class?
interrupt their classes if necessary. If they're in today, they come. End of story. Understood?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Well, that's all. All right.
I'll get cracking then.
Please. Oh, goodness, Val, what a morning. Oh, you haven't got any biscuits in that bag. Have you? I could taste some sugar.
Of course. So what's it about?
No, I can't tell you, Val.
Oh, come on, Syl. I'm your oldest friend.
Oh, no, I mustn't. It's a very delicate matter.
Why?
One of your pupils.
Oh, but it's not me.
Oh, no, nothing like that. No, don't worry.
So, who's the girl? Oh, come on, Syl. If this concerns me, I have a right to know.
Oh, well, I suppose you're going to find out sooner or later. It's Deborah Maguire.
Debbie? Oh, surely not.
I'm afraid it is.
But she's no trouble at all. A quiet little thing. Why would anyone want to hit her?
Hit her? What have you heard?
Nothing. Was Emma listening in?
Oh, my goodness, when is that woman going to learn to keep her mouth shut for 2 seconds? Oh, it'll be all over the school by lunchtime.
Well, we're going to have to find out lunchtime anyway, so you might as well give me the details now.
Oh, honestly, Val, you don't give up.
Well, maybe I can help.
Oh, I doubt it. This girl, Deborah Maguire. Oh, she's been withdrawn and uncommunicative since the start of the year, but that's nothing unusual in a 14-year-old girl. But I got a call from her mother this morning who told me that not only has she stopped eating properly, she's also virtually stopped talking to her parents, and to cap it all, she's got injuries to both hands and she didn't get them at home.
And she reckons a teacher did it.
Evidently.
And what about the other girls?
What, bullying, you
Well,
mean?
yes.
No, I don't think so. One of them would have got scared and told a teacher. Besides, if anything like that was going on in Year 9, well, Emma would know about it. Jules tells her mother pretty much everything, which can be very useful.
What does Debbie have to say?
Nothing. Literally. She just clams up and refuses to talk about it.
And who does her mother think that it is?
Oh, I can't tell you.
Syl.
No, Val, it's confidential.
But it's not...
No, I promise it's not you.
I can't believe that anyone would do such a thing in this day and age. I mean, you can't even touch a child without being accused of assault or worse. And I remember what the nuns did to us when we were growing up. Rulers on the palm, caning. They used to make us pull our skirts up and our knickers down, and you could still see the marks a week later.
The bad old days are gone. At least I thought they were. You know, I just don't know what to make of it. You know, I know none of my staff would do anything like this. There must be some explanation, but for the life of me, I can't think what.
You don't think it's the parents trying to shift the blame?
Well, if they wanted to cover it up, why say anything in the first place?
Poor little Debbie. She may be quiet, but she pays attention. And she's almost top of her class in RE. I've got high hopes for her. She might even make something of her life, not like the others. I asked them what their career ambition was in general studies the other week, and half of them said to marry a footballer.
Oh, that's the sort of thing I was brought in to change.
Yes, well, you can take the girl out of Essex.
And that's what we must do. Raise their aspirations permanently. Selective
But not very.
Selective but inclusive is St. Catherine's motto.
You're not out there anymore, Syl. When was the last time you took a class? You don't know how hard it is to teach these kids now.
I know perfectly well how hard it is. It just got harder. Look, I'll see you at 1. I've got a meeting with the bursar now. Redundancies and cutbacks.
How fun.
I'll be lucky if I hear a word he says. You know, I just don't get it, Val. Who would dream of hurting a pupil?
Oh, but then again.
Oh, there's a jaffa cake.
Oh, I've only got 2 left.
Please yourself.
You seen Emma yet?
No, yeah, why?
She's looking for you.
Is she?
And the head.
Sylvia's looking for me.
Yep.
What have I done now?
Guilty conscience.
Well, hardly, but I know she thinks I'm too touchy-feely. Always telling me to keep my distance from my students, as if that would help anyone. English is about self-expression. Psychology is about being human. Who'd want a robot for a teacher?
Yes, well, better safe than sorry.
Oh, safe. That's the new buzzword, isn't it? Everything must be safe. There is no room for risk or exploration. Wear armour at all times. Never reveal anything about yourself and go home every day grateful you haven't been accused of molesting a student. Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Is it?
What does she want me for, anyway?
Emergency staff meeting at 1 o'clock. Big scandal. Priority 1. Some parents made a complaint.
About me?
Dunno. Sylvia's getting Emma to round every member of staff who's in today, though, for a 1 o'clock meeting. You better get yourself ticked off her list.
I'll text her and let her know I'll be there. Who's the girl?
Deborah Maguire.
Debs, really?
Well, that's what I said.
Oh, that is odd.
Yes, exactly. A good girl like that. Always turns up on time, always does her homework, never any trouble.
No, I mean that's odd because...
What?
Never mind, I'll save it for the meeting.
How do you know? I heard she had bruises on her hands.
Bruises? Who told you that?
Nobody, I just heard it.
Well, what I saw weren't bruises.
And what did you see?
Injuries. Cuts.
Oh, she probably fell over. Honestly, some parents are paranoid. I can see that this meeting is going to be a complete waste of time.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, wouldn't you?
She didn't get them from falling over. They were deep, deliberate, almost like stab wounds. She was trying to hide them. She was wearing gloves, which I thought was a little bit weird in May, so I kept her behind after school. Got her to take them off and show me. She wouldn't say a word about how she got them. What would you think in those circumstances?
Well, parents' trouble at home.
Parents, exactly. I thought maybe the dad. He never comes to parents' evening. She has never spoken about him. So last night I mentioned it to her mum. Said I was concerned.
That's why she called
It turns
in.
out her mum hadn't even noticed Debbie's hands. And she didn't believe me at first. Now, that's what I call negligence. Not even noticing your own daughter's injuries.
What do you expect? Half of them don't even know where their kids are. And then when something goes wrong, there's hell to pay.
She had a class with you yesterday, so you must have noticed them too. What made you think they were bruises?
No, I didn't see anything.
No?
I saw the gloves, of course. I asked her to take them off, but she said she was cold. I let it go because she's a good kid.
You can't just let that sort of thing go, Val. That is a classic sign of abuse. Oh, it's a good job I spotted it.
Well, not for you, I reckon.
What do you mean by that?
Nothing. And besides, in a class of 20, how am I supposed to keep an eye on every little detail? It's hard enough getting them to turn up and pay attention.
Well, maybe it is for you.
I beg your pardon.
Angie, goodness, I found you. What's this about an emergency staff meeting?
Honestly, I can't say anymore. Are you alright though?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, of course I am, as long as I'm not in any trouble.
Well, if anyone is, we all are.
Sounds like the shit really is going to hit the fan.
Oh, what a charming expression.
Well, if there's a complaint against the teacher, the whole school suffers. You know how these things work.
What do you mean?
Oh, gossip, mudslinging, rumours. Those sort of things can be the kiss of death, especially for an improving school.
Anji saw Deborah's injuries.
Deborah. Debbie Maguire.
Yeah. Apparently, I'm the only one who noticed them.
Oh.
Her mother didn't either.
Well, what were they? I mean, what happened?
Well, I don't know what happened, but I know how they looked. Holes in the palm of her hand. I mean, they were still bleeding as well. Small, but deep. Horrible. I've never seen anything like it.
In her hands, fresh blood.
Yeah, it must have been recent.
Oh, no, this is just too crazy.
What?
Well, no, we were only discussing this the other day in class.
Discussing what?
Well, these wounds you're talking about, they sound like stigmata.
Stigmata?
What is that?
Well, they're the wounds that Jesus received on the cross. Holes in the hands from the nails, sometimes in the feet too.
What?
Some saints used to develop them. Mysterious injuries. Normal people too still do. The blood's always fresh, and they don't stop bleeding.
But that's crazy.
Oh.
Does these things happen?
Yeah, only to Catholics.
So?
Debbie's not a Catholic? Not as far as I know.
It says C.O.E. on her records.
There you go.
These things don't just pick and choose, Angie. They develop spontaneously.
Yeah, two religious hysterics. Whatever Debbie is, she's not one of those.
How can you be so sure? How well do you know her?
Well, better than you, obviously.
Maybe too well.
Oh, just because I'm not afraid to get to know my pupils.
Well, maybe you should.
Why? I've got nothing to hide.
Well, in that case, if you know her so well, you'll be able to tell the head what happened then, won't you?
You don't really believe in that nonsense, do you?
What nonsense?
Miracles and stigmata and all that.
I believe they exist, yes. I'm not saying how people get them, but stigmatism is a real phenomenon, and it happens often in young girls.
Oh, I don't believe it. Once a Catholic, eh?
There's no harm in having faith, Angie. And besides, more things are dreamt of in heaven and earth than in your psychology
Oh,
class.
thank you, Hamlet. This is serious.
Oh, so am I. You may mock Angie, but I can tell you, no, this is what...
Calm down, both of you. Now, if this girl somehow got hurt on our watch, we're all in for it. We've got to pull together.
Yeah, except I don't like the way this is going. I think the head's looking for a scapegoat. And I bet you told her where she could find one.
And what do you mean?
Oh, you believe in miracles, do you? Well, it will take a miracle if someone doesn't lose their job when this shitstorm's blown over. I'm going to get a coffee.
There goes a woman with something to hide.
What do you mean?
I'm not saying she's got anything to do with it, but I bet Angie knows more than she's letting on. She's always boasting how close she is to the girls.
She is very friendly with the students. I don't see any harm in that. I mean, Jules is in her English class and said all the girls really love her.
We're not here to build fan clubs. We're here to teach. And besides, buddying up to the pupils gives a wrong impression. There is such a thing as keeping a professional distance. That way, we all know where we stand.
It's just a different approach, that's all. I don't think it's bad for the kids.
But I do. It confuses them. Children need boundaries.
Young women, Belle,
Oh.
they like to be treated like grown-ups, not children.
It's not what they want. It's a question of what's good for them.
And as a parent, all I can say is that Jules really enjoyed her English classes, and I think that's a good thing.
It's all fun and games, isn't it? Until someone gets hurt. Literally this time.
Angie is passionate. Now, she cares for her subject. She cares.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't, Belle.
Just because I don't have children of my own, it doesn't mean to say I don't know how to deal with them. I have 30 years' experience. What's she got? 4 or 5 and not even a PGCE. She'll never get a job in a state school. That much I will tell you. The stuff I hear coming out of her classroom sometimes. She talks to them about all sorts of things.
Well, what's wrong with being open?
Inappropriate. That's what it is. Maybe that's how they do things in Spain or wherever she taught. But things are different here, and she has got to understand that.
Angie understands the girls. Now, Jules says Debbie hangs on her every word.
Didn't I say?
It's just a bit of hero worship.
Oh.
Girls need role models. Didn't you ever used to have a crush on a teacher?
And the CRB check wouldn't show anything. She can get up to what she likes teaching abroad and nobody would be any the wiser. I told Sylvia that she would be a liability, but she wouldn't listen. Too late now.
You don't honestly think that Angie would do anything to harm a student, do you?
Not deliberately,
And
perhaps.
even if there was a problem, it wouldn't be with Debbie.
How do you know what goes on in her mind? Those psychology teachers are mad as far as I'm concerned.
And that's your professional opinion, is it?
Angie, I'm sure Valerie was only joking.
Oh, was I?
Oh, don't defend her, Em. I can see that I've been tried and found guilty in my absence. That didn't take long.
Honestly, don't be ridiculous. I'm sure that's not what Valerie meant. Jules, darling, now is not a good time. What? Is it important? 5 minutes. I'm going to have to leave.
All I'm saying is that where there's smoke...
There's what? Reliability? Thanks, Val. Clearly, Sylvia sees things somewhat differently. Oh, and as for being mad, I'm not the one trying to attribute Debbie's injuries to some sort of divine
I
intervention.
didn't say.
And because my pupils talk to me, that somehow makes me the most likely suspect. I'm quite happy that my students are comfortable talking to me, not so scared they can't open their mouths. I like my students, I listen to them, and vice versa, which is more than can be said for some teachers in this room.
You may not like my methods.
What methods? All you do is sit at the front and read out from the Bible according to my English class. You call that teaching?
Oh, so that's what you talk about in your class,
We
is
talk
it?
about all sorts of things on and off curriculum. I want to broaden their minds, not narrow them.
I don't care to have this.
You don't care, full stop. You know the one thing that's worse than a teacher that cares too much? One that's going through the motions, waiting for their pension, stopped caring.
When you have been in this job as long as I have,
I will continue to care, or I will do everyone a favour and quit.
you will get to realise that the only thing that we are allowed to care about are results and university places, because that's all that parents care about.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. Why do you think Sylvia was brought into St Catherine's? The results took a nosedive, and it's her job, our job, to bring them back up. That's all.
And that's what I've been doing, and more.
And more. Exactly. You've gone too far this time, Angie. Leave the emotional development of the kids to the parents. That's their job, not yours. Don't get involved.
That's your motto, isn't it?
It's got to be. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a class to teach.